Back in New York, Peter is happy to be home. And now that the Daily Bugle is saved, he swings over to sell some photos of Spider-Man. But outside the building, he finds a protest. People angry that the Bugle cares more about Kazar and Spider-Man than it does about minority groups, the hungry, the jobless, the angry. Randy Robertson is part of the protest, and he calls out his dad, Robbie Robertson, for working for the man. And Robbie implies that he agrees with the protest, but says that he has to get to work, telling Randy to do what he needs to do, but to keep out of trouble. But not keeping out of trouble is Jonah, who is annoyed at the implication that he doesn't care, yelling to the protesters that the Bugle's been fighting for civil rights since before the protesters were even born. And then he pushes a protester in the face and the crowd turns on him, and it's up to Spider-Man to swing down and save him, leaving him hanging on the outside of a balcony to be ridiculed by the protest. We're reading every Spider-Man ever, and this is Amazing Spider-Man issue 105, The Spider Slayer. But Spider-Man doesn't have time to see the ridicule. He has to race back to his apartment. Harry is coming back from hospital and they're throwing him a surprise party. But before the main surprise, Peter gets a little one first, when he sees that Flash Thompson has returned home from the army. Home for good. And then, just as MJ tries to flirt with Peter, Harry returns home to find a crowd of people who love him, and he sheds a tear. Meanwhile, and elsewhere, still smarting over his ridicule, Jonah visits Spencer Smythe to see his new Spider Slayer. It's fast, can climb walls and can shoot webs, and Jonah simply has to have it. Later, he takes control of it back in his office and finds Spider-Man, who is confused about weird gadgets that have appeared on rooftops all over the city. But when Jonah commands the Slayer to attack, it doesn't listen. And then it does attack, but not when Jonah asks it to. Almost with a mind of its own, the Spider Slayer battles Spider-Man across the rooftops, before smashing Spidey through a wall and into a research hall filled with giant computers, knocking our hero out in the process. And while Jonah wasn't really in control, he's still happy to see Spidey defeated, but the Spider Slayer doesn't capture Spider-Man or unmask him, and Jonah smashes the controller on the ground. Smythe has failed him again, but Smythe had other plans. He was secretly controlling the Spider Slayer, guiding the fight towards the research hall, and then commanding it to steal a master controller. All those devices on the rooftops that Spider-Man was confused about earlier were a surveillance system that Smythe helped devise for the police, a way to see the entire city. And while making it seem that Spider-Man did it, Smythe has stolen the master controller and now has eyes everywhere. And his first test of the system is to use the cameras to follow Spider-Man, follow him back to some webbed up civilian clothes, and watch him as he takes off his mask and reveals to Smythe his secret identity. Thanks for watching and joining me on this journey to read every Spider-Man ever. Thanks to my patrons listed here for supporting the channel, especially Christian Robertson, and if you want ad-free videos or early and exclusive episodes, you can join them for as little as £0. Next week, Peter's identity has been revealed. Or has it? You can find out that answer by skipping ahead and watching the rest of 1972 now on the link on the right. Otherwise, see you next week.